Welcome back to the Sure Sales Group Show, episode 78, and today I'm with my good friend Matt Nader, the best lender on the East Coast. Here on the show, we talk about real estate, sales, negotiation, marketing, entrepreneurship, buying, selling, renting, investing, and what it's taken us to grow from 2 employees to 20, from 30 million in sales to 130 million in sales in the last few years. Thanks for watching. So Matt, thanks so much for coming out. Matt Nader's with First Home Mortgage, a huge ally of us here at the Sure Sales Group. So Matt, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself, and then we're gonna jump into all those tips and tricks you gave us. I want the world to know about them.
You sure you want to tell everybody?
Tell everybody, because our buyers are winning, and it might help some other agents and other buyers too if they work with someone like yourself. So
I appreciate that.
Take it away.
Thank you. Matt Nader, I'm with First Home Mortgage. I've been in the mortgage industry for 16 years. First Home's local here. We're based out of Baltimore.
How much volume did you do last year? Let them know. Don't be humble. You personally.
I personally finished at $208 million.
$208 million worth of loans funded. Now, what the audience needs to realize is those don't get funded unless the contract's accepted and the deal's closed. So that's an obnoxious amount of mortgage volume. So Matt, the reason I wanted you to come down is because I think it was a couple months ago, Matt and his team came out, and he's happy to go to anybody's office and drop the tips and tricks on them. But you gave us a bunch of things that have really helped us and helped our buyers win these offers. Because what's happening now, and you hear it everywhere, is every house gets 10 offers. And they might be the same purchase price, they might be the same contingencies, they might be the same settlement date. What are you telling agents, and how are you helping our borrowers be prepared to win?
Sure. I'm talking to buyers now when they do win a contract, and I call them right away and say, congratulations, you've gotten over the hardest part of this market,
right? Which
is getting a contract. And it's tough to get under contract, and really I think that it comes down to it's just so competitive. And competition is looming from the start of the pandemic, but really it started a year before that. I mean, 2019, we started to see an upward tick of purchase transactions. COVID came, and COVID has done something to our space that really we've never seen before, which is an initial onset was out of the city. Everyone out of the city, they wanted a yard, they wanted a deck, they wanted space.
Right.
So we saw just a ton of activity with some of the younger crowd coming out of the city, moving out to the suburbs.
Right.
And we saw, maybe that's their second home that's in the suburbs, them saying, well, wow, I didn't know I could ever sell my house for this much. I might as well sell.
Right.
And then they're moving up. We saw the second home market, right? The beach houses, the lake houses, the mountain houses. That market has gone crazy.
Bananas.
Because you can work from home.
Right.
If you can work from home, do you want to be at your primary residence, or do you want to buy a lake house or a beach house?
I'd rather be looking at the Atlantic.
Why not? So, again, the hardest part of all is getting to contract. And there are ways to make the buyer more competitive. And I tell buyers all the time, unfortunately, if you identify a home, there's probably going to be another, 1, 2, or 80 other people that want that same house. So is it always the highest and the best price wins? No, right?
Right.
You see contracts all the time. Do you just take the highest and the best? No, because there's contingencies within the contract. So a couple things that we start to work on up front in my initial conversation with the soon-to-be buyer is, one, let's gather all of your financials. Let's get everything in. Let's fully vet this file. Let's pre-underwrite it. Let's get you to a position to where when you've identified something, financing isn't holding you up. Everything's done. Everything's buttoned up. And then there's some newer things that have come into the market. One of the biggest is what's called a property inspection waiver.
Property inspection waiver?
Property inspection waiver. So let's say it's your listing, and I call and I say I want a contract. I want to buy your house, and 30 other people do.
Right.
But everyone else is contingent upon the appraised value.
Right.
And you're sitting there as a seller saying, man, I'm selling this home for a lot more than I ever thought I could sell it for. So one of my worries is if I continue to push this price up, home might not appraise, and then my return diminishes.
Timeouts, just so you know, if the house doesn't appraise, the buyer can say, oh, I know I agreed to pay $500, but the bank appraiser said it's only $450, so I can only give you $450. And as a seller, you're just like, bam, you might have just lost 50 G's. So what he's talking about is a way to circumvent that.
Right.
Keep going.
So property inspection waiver, if it's a conventional loan and it's a conforming loan.
Right.
So each county has its own conforming limits. If it's a conventional loan and it's a conforming loan and the borrower's at least putting down 15% or more, the lender should always be running it through what's an automated underwriting system, which will push back to us, you got a property inspection waiver. So now all of a sudden this buyer that wants to buy this house, they can start with, I don't need an appraisal contingency. So they're waiving their appraisal contingency. So what that tells the seller is just that, is doesn't matter what we offer, as long as we have this property inspection waiver, we're not contingent on how much an appraiser is going to tell us how much the home is worth. We're willing to pay for it. We think it's worth it. So do Fannie and Freddie. They're saying, yes, the home is worth this much. And the way that it works is, as it's ran through this automated underwriting system, Fannie and Freddie has its data, and it's saying that in this neighborhood, this square footage, this bedroom and bathroom count, when the home was built, and recent comparables or conveyances that have sold, yes, this is a justifiable value. Therefore, this loan does not require an appraisal.
That right there has made us at the Sure Group a small fortune. And not only, it's good for us because we got to sell the home, but it made us look so good to our clients. So what a good lender is going to do is be a partner with you there. So I heard two things. A, take that full application and get it pre-underwritten, which the other thing that allows you to do is really speed up the settlement time frame.
Yep.
Most of the time people are saying, hey, I need 30 days, I need 45 days to close on a loan. That's par for the course. Now, if you're pre-underwritten and you have a lender who's aggressive and who can guide the buyer through that process, because it's awkward. You're like, hey, give me your W-2s, give me your bank statements, give me your tax returns, give me. If the buyer cooperates and they're for real, you can close in 15 days. I've seen this guy close them in 10 days and waive the appraisal. And by the way, you're not putting yourself at risk. What we're seeing is every seller wants you to waive your appraisal because it's going over list price. Everyone's getting more than they think. Will you waive the appraisal? Well, 99% of buyers can't. Because what if it does underappraise? If I waive that appraisal, well, I got to come up with all this cash that I don't have. They're out, they lost.
Because the bank will only lend off of
Appraised
the
value.
lower of the sales price or the appraised value. So if an appraisal comes in higher, you can't over leverage to the appraised value. It's the agreed upon contract price.
Right.
Or conversely, if the appraisal comes in lower, the buyer is still obligated to purchase the home for the contract price.
Right.
If there isn't an appraisal contingency within the contract.
Right. It's just most people can't waive the appraisal on their own volition because they're sitting out hordes of cash. What First Home Mortgage has done and what you've kind of coached us up on throughout this process is a way to protect the buyer, get them what they want, not put them at any risk, and still have a smooth transaction.
Yeah. And the next contingency would be financing, right? So typically there's going to be the three major contingencies in a contract are home inspection, financing, and appraisal, right?
Right.
So if we get rid of the appraisal, because we have done some homework up front.
Which is huge.
Property inspections waiver there, appraisal contingency is gone. Next is going to be financing. Some people, they're comfortable with waiving their financing, but not everyone is. So how do we make your buyer a stronger buyer? Most in the market are showing at anywhere from a 25 to a 30-day financing commitment. And what that means is lender has gone through their side, an underwriter has reviewed it, and the loan is approved and or conditionally approved.
Right.
So another way that we can speed that up, as you were just saying, is give me those docs. Let me see that W-2. Let me pre-underwrite it. So then as you're presenting the offer, we're gonna skinny up those timelines.
Right.
Hey, Mr. Seller, we don't need an appraisal. How about if we told you in 2 days or 3 days, loan's already conditionally approved. We're closing.
It's almost like your cash.
It's essentially cash, plus 2 days maybe.
Yeah, that's the other big thing. And what I've been doing personally, and I encourage everybody else to do this too, tell your agent, or if I'm your agent, here's what's going to happen. Not only am I going to present this offer to the listing agent on your behalf of here's the price, here's why you should take it, and kind of coach up that listing agent on how to present this to their seller, I have Matt call them too. Because I'm going to present it and say, furthermore, I'm going to have Matt reach out to you and just let you know. And he says financing. He doesn't say financing. That's how good he is. He says financing. He knows what he's doing, and he's a sales guy. And like those last 3 deals we did for my cousin, Caitlin Berg, I said, Matt, can you please sell this to the listing agent? There's 6 offers.
Easy.
Slammed it done. Slam shut. So it's big.
Yeah, I've done this for a long time. So I know how to talk to the listing agent.
Right.
But more importantly, I can have that conversation, and I can have it with utmost confidence if I have everything in.
Right.
Right. So then the listing agent sees just a letter from me that says, hey, Mr. Buyer is approved.
Right. That's what everyone does.
But why not call him? I'm going to call him. I'm going to tell him, listen, I have everything. And a lot of times I then start asking some questions with the listing agent. What's your seller doing? Oh, well, they just bought a house at the beach and they're moving to the beach, but they don't close for 60 days. Well, would your seller like a 30-day free rent back and during the negotiation? Oh, I didn't even think about that. Well, how about we make our offer a little bit stronger, right? So it's a conversation that maybe the listing agent wouldn't have with you, but maybe they tell me something. So why wouldn't I call you back and say, hey, if we just tweak this just a touch, we're going to be under contract.
See, that's so big, and that's what a good lender is willing to do. That's kind of playing the role of realtor. Some people are like, oh my God, well, I'm supposed to ask that question. Not every agent was going to divulge all the information to you as another agent because they want to protect their client's best interest.
Right.
But when you have a tag team of a qualified agent representing a buyer and a lender working in tandem, your odds of winning go way up. And here's the little, oh, by the way, cheat sheet. You're going to have to work with the lender anyway. So you might as well work with someone who's going to do you a solid every step throughout the way and make you look good. So
name and reputation and
right.
performance, past performance is very key in this industry. There's a lot of other lenders or bigger banks, we'll call it, that are out there that their past reputation isn't the best. Their deliveries are sometimes late, or they're bringing in an appraiser from Virginia appraising a property in Baltimore City. Like, how does a guy in Virginia know Baltimore City?
I don't even want to get started on that. It's one of the banes of my existence.
You can't.
Well, the other thing with the bigger banks too is everyone's willing to give you a loan. If you're watching this and you have good income and good credit, which you probably do, everyone's going to want to give you a loan. Now, you can talk to Wells Fargo, Bank of America, whoever. They're not boots on the ground helping you get things done. You're talking to someone in the call center, uploading docs through some weird system. And will they do the loan? Yeah. Will it get done? Probably. Will it set you apart when you're competing with 4 other people? Absolutely not.
Well, what happens on a Sunday, I don't know, let's say 3 o'clock? You get a phone call. One of your buyers wants to write. What happens on Sunday at 3 if they're working with a credit union or a larger bank?
You lost already.
But offers are due at 5. You can't get there.
It's over.
That's right. So guys that are quick and nimble and are always working, not saying that some big bankers or lenders don't, but the majority of the time the smaller local correspondent shops are, they're always available. And that's part of this game, and especially right now, more importantly right now than I think in my career, is speed and timing and availability. Because if your buyer sees something and it goes to market today at noon, and offers, are flying in, if we can't get them a contract and a pre-approval letter and ready to go, they don't have the chance to buy that house. And I can promise you, I will never be the reason someone doesn't get to buy a house.
I like that.
If they're qualified, right? If they have the ability to purchase that home, I want to jump in. And that's why I like getting all my docs up front. That's why I like kind of pre-underwriting it. For just that reason is if and when your client finds something, boom, we're gone. It's the offer's out the door.
So I think the kind of the moral of the story here is, A, you got to work with good people. You already knew that. But if you're thinking about buying a home, I don't care if it's this year, if you're buying a home in 2022, the time is now to get your ducks in a row because you're probably going to be competing. And you're going to need someone to guide you through that process. Are you putting 15% down? Are we conventional? Are we going to go FHA? Is it VA? Every program has a twist that you can leverage for your benefit if you know how to do it. And look, if I'm being honest, these things change all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Like you were telling me the other day, the conforming loan limits were changed earlier this year, and things change at a breakneck speed. Fannie and Freddie Mae are doing different stuff. This new administration is going to roll out different stuff. Yeah. And I rely on him to tell me what's going on so I can be educated in the marketplace. But if you're thinking about buying, get your stuff ahead early because A, it doesn't cost you anything. It's free. People are worried about getting their credit pulled. Is that even an issue?
Pulling your credit, yes. If I pull your credit or a lender pulls your credit, yes, it's a credit inquiry on your credit report. A credit inquiry can negatively impact your scores. If one, maybe let's say 2, and I tell people, yeah, call around, ask. I want to ensure you that yes, I'm giving you the best deal possible.
Right.
So if there's a credit inquiry or 1, maybe let's say 2 on your credit report within a 30-day timeline, no, it's not going to negatively impact your scores. It might drop you 2 or 3 points. If you get off the phone with a lender and then you turn around and call 15 of them, yeah, it's going to negatively impact your scores.
But 1 or 2 doesn't do anything.
No, 1 or 2 might drop you a couple of points. More importantly behind that, though, is let's say somebody has a 6-month timeline and they're worried about pulling their credit right now. We, as the lender, it's our job to get them, the buyer, the absolute best type of financing possible.
Right.
So part of that is, okay, let's pull credit today, and let's say you're at a 720 credit score. But I have a little tweak and say, hey, if you put $1,200 down on there, or take your credit card down and put it to this balance, whatever the number may be.
Right.
Your score goes to a 760 or a 780. Then all of a sudden, on your 30-year term, you've now just shaved off 0.25% in the interest rates or something along those lines.
Which saves an obnoxious amount of money over the 30 years.
Yeah, $50,000, $60,000 contingent upon how much the loan is. So it's never, in my opinion, it's never too early to engage. Don't be afraid to engage. One, it allows you to figure out really where what you're qualified for, but most importantly behind that, it's qualification levels and comfort levels don't always match, right? Of
course.
You could be qualified up to here, but you don't want to pay that much.
Right.
So it's allowing the buyer to identify where they're comfortable. And then what it ends up happening is it also kind of condenses where they're searching.
Right.
Right? Because if a buyer comes to you and says, hey, Andrew, I want to buy a house in Baltimore City. Okay. 100,000 or $1 million?
Right.
I don't know yet. But if they have that homework done up front with the lender and they know that my comfort zone is 400,000.
Right.
Then it somewhat condenses your search from, let's say, 350 to 450, right? It just gives them a better idea, and they're able to navigate through the marketplace. And then you know what neighborhood they're looking at. You're going to be sending them listings. Then they know which neighborhood moves faster or which type of homes are moving faster. So if they see something pop up, they have the ability to go and attack right away.
What I tell buyers all the time, Matt, is the two numbers that really matter when you're looking for these homes is, hey, how much cash is coming out of my pocket and what's my monthly payment? Because those are real numbers.
Right.
The purchase price of the home, that matters when you buy it and when you sell it. That's the only two times you're ever going to see that number. But what's going to be with you that you really need to think about is how much cash am I coming up with and what is my mortgage payment every month? And you know what I found is people don't fall in love with an interest rate. They fall in love with the home. And you need to know, are you comfortable with this cash position and this monthly payment? Yes. Okay, reverse engineer that into the purchase price. That's the key. Just because you're approved, like you said, up to $800, but you don't want to spend more than $3,000 a month, well, that means we need to stay between $600 and $650, depending on the taxes, et cetera.
Right.
So, Matt, we could talk about this all day, and we have on occasion on the boat. He's an Annapolis guy. He'll take you out on the boat. If you really want to go deep on financing, hit Matt up on the boat.
Give me a call.
And he'll take you out there.
Sure.
But I really appreciate you coming out. Where can people find you, and what should they do if they just want to reach out and start this conversation?
Sure. Best way, just call me. Call my cell phone, 240-882-8006. Pretty much always available. I have 5 daughters, so at times I might be, changing a diaper.
He's always awake.
But I never sleep. I haven't slept. I haven't slept in 7 years or 8 years or something. So I don't need sleep. I figured that part out. Call, easy. Email, call. All of my information's online. And again, it's never too early to get started and understand what you should be looking for and how to get to your end goal.
And hey, look, we like to compete and win, and there's a million real estate agents out there, but if you're an agent and you don't have a lender who's going the extra mile, who's helping you bring in inquiries and helping you close inquiries and making you look good online and offline, you need to have, Matt's got a whole team of mortgage people. Now, he personally did the $200 million, which is obnoxious. But the team, the office, did what? Billy's?
We're just shy.
Just shy.
That's a goal. 860.
860. Well, he's going to be a Billy killer, so he's got room for everybody. Thanks so much for coming out. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey Matt, before you dip out, we've done it 78 times, 79 times, whatever this one is. Can you give us a little by the way?
Oh, by the way. One of the unique things we have in our office is we have an in-house marketing team. So our marketing girls all day long, all we do is we push the agent product. We push the houses. Our job isn't to close the loans for the buyers. Our job is to help our agents grow. And if our agents grow, we will continue to get more deals, close more buyers. Closing the buyers, that's the easy part. That's the basic part of the job. We're not basic. I don't do basic. So we take it much, much further. There's a big value add when we're aligned, when we're helping. It's not just getting the loan to settlement on 21 days or 18 days or whatever the number is. There's a lot more to it. So make sure you're aligned with the correct team, the right lender, the right real estate agent.
Awesome.
Thank you.